What's up everybody? Welcome to FoundFlix. Today we're looking at the highly anticipated sequel to the found footage flick The Gallows with the Gallows Act II, following Auna Rue, who transfers to a prestigious new acting school and encounters the malevolent spirit of Charlie after participating in a viral challenge. Right, so the first Gallows wasn't exactly a masterpiece, but did have some decent found footage style scares, and the hangman spirit wasn't bad either. And if you remember back when I did my video on the first film, the sequel had already been shot and completed for some time, and finally came out around Halloween last year. Perhaps it was just undergoing a lot of post time as the first film did, which had many things cut and reshot before being released. But maybe it seems like they finally just gave up after a while and were like, this is the best we can do, release the dang thing already. Because the Gallows Act II feels almost completely disconnected from the first film, in particular by abandoning the found footage style of the first. It's obvious the filmmakers got a bigger budget this time around, but it feels like it's been squandered here. Like they got the opportunity to do something bigger and better, but honestly they just kind of botched the whole thing in my opinion. This also correlates to the ending that many of you have been asking me to explain. You know, a lot of times in movies there are all the dots there to connect to put all the pieces of the movie together, while other times it's simply poorly written, and the holes and questions the audience has inevitably can't be filled in. And this is definitely one of those cases. But as usual, I will do my best to put together what is there and look at some of the many reasons that it doesn't work due to the story up to that point. If you don't remember how the whole thing works with the gallows and whatever, a kid was accidentally hanged in a stage production of the play The Gallows, and ever since then the spirit of the boy, now wearing a hangman disguise, appears and torments anyone that reads from the play. You kind of call him by reading the play, one of those kind of things. That's about the gist of it, as we pick up a few years after the events of the first film and meet a bunch of new dumb kids for Charlie to kill. So let's check out The Gallows Act II, breaking down the story, the few connections it shares with the first film, as well as explaining the ending and what I think they were trying to go for, but totally blew it. We begin with a new batch of kids all gathered around a table doing some silly trick, making it appear that some pencils are moving around on their own. But it's just one kid, Victor, using air to blow them around. Gotcha, fools! But he knows all about a much more real supernatural tale, asking the others if they want to kick it up a notch, producing a copy of The Gallows, mentioning how when it was first performed, the young actor Charlie was accidentally killed, and after that his spirit has been popping up everywhere, yowling, "It's real Charlie challenge time!" He starts reading from the play, and though a few chuckle at the odd period dialogue, the lights start to blink and stuff in the room starts shaking around. Something is launched at them, but when seeing another guy, Marcus, at the top of the stairs, they blame him. But Victor is positive that it was actually Charlie's spirit responsible. Later alone, he searches for Marcus to help him clean up the mess, but he's not there, sending him outside to look. He finds him strangely swinging and gets no answer asking how he is, noticing a copy of the play by his feet. Looking to the woods, we see a figure looming behind a tree, and when looking back, Marcus is all wrapped up in the chain and obviously dead. He attempts to escape, but another chain launches at him, wrapping around his neck, seeing the hangman figure there that is the form the spirit of Charlie takes, as well as being a character from the eponymous play. And wow, death by swings, that's how we're starting this whole thing, huh? Okay then. After that thrilling reintroduction to the world of Charlie Grimmel and the Gallows play, we meet struggling YouTuber slash high schooler Auna Rue, starting with saying she's excited as she's just reached 1 million subscribers. Just kidding, it's more like 200. But she's confident and determined one day it will be more. Yeah, girlie, you can do it. It just takes evil. She's moving out of her parents' house, who it turns out are pretty big dicks, and into her fashion designer big sis Lisa's house. And Auna is excited as she's going to attend the prestigious Fellbrook High School, known for its drama program. I mean, even Craig and Kate Baker went there. Wow, I know, the Bakers, talk about a power couple. Who the hell is that? Arriving at Lisa's, she appreciates all of her vintage decor, including a weird gargoyle statue that she says is to keep bad spirits away, but it doesn't sound like there's going to be much time for sisterly bonding, as Lisa is in the midst of a big fashion show, so she'll be mostly in her studio, leaving the whole house for Auna, making it way easier for spirits to inevitably show up and mess with her. Classic setup. Always leave them alone, that's what I say, and then the goose get ya. The next day, it's time for her first day of class, staring in wonder at the theater program achievements display, and then enters the theater, seeing other people rehearsing and stuff. It turns out there's a potential big prize on the line for one lucky student. Later in the semester, a big-time talent scout and friend of the teachers is going to drop in, which could lead to a big payoff for their careers. So they'll be focusing on monologues the entire semester, which will act as their big audition, stressing they only have one opportunity opportunity to show off their chops. For some reason, Auna is obsessed with this weird fantasy movie that reminded me of Dark Crystal or something, even carrying a copy of it with her at all times, and offers to take the first turn on stage. The teacher is like, you sure about that? Didn't really have any time to prepare or anything, but she's positive she's ready. Although after getting maybe like a line out, of course lines from that movie she loves apparently, she starts struggling to remember her lines, overwhelmed by memories of her as a child. Her dad telling her to be quiet while she screams, she's a princess! She soon pretty much draws a complete blank and sure takes her time up there as a jock-looking dude watches from the door. And she flashes back to her mother also being discouraging with her pretending. Pretty sure it's okay for kids to use their imagination, but not according to these two it seems. It's good to squash creativity early, just good parenting. Obviously bombing the performance, she cries her eyes out in the bathroom and trying to make herself feel better sticks on a copy of the movie, and it's some really high quality looking stuff there, remembering her watching it as a kid, and this must be the reason for her lifelong inspiration of wanting to be an actress. Now, freshly filled with determination, she shuts off the laptop. Outside, everyone is hanging out for lunch. Some dumbass kids start mocking a guy about being a virgin, and Auna goes to save him, asking if they're still on for tonight, and he plays along, making the boys lose interest, which catches the attention of dreamy Cade or Cody or Caden or whatever who saw her back on stage, and she's embarrassed, but he's pretty nice about it actually, her feeling that she doesn't fit in here. Him arguing that's not necessarily a bad thing, offering to talk later. If you're lucky, she jokes, cursing herself after he leaves for saying that. Adorably awkward teen interactions. We've all been there. Checking her channel, she gets a chat message from someone called Almost Famous 99, who saw a previous horror-themed video that she did, asking if she likes the scary stuff. When saying she does, he sends along a link to a video featuring the kids from the opening doing the Charlie challenge. Even though it looked like at the very least Victor and Marcus were brutally slain, the video has 15 million views. Pretty tasty. So what if you're obviously gonna die? That is a lot of eyeballs. It's worth it. Come on. This sends her to the library in search of a copy of the Gallows, conveniently finding a copy nestled amongst the shelves, and finds herself engrossed when reading it, to the point of coming to, and several hours have passed. It's now nighttime and the library is closing down to her confusion. It's only gonna get a lot weirder, Auna, sorry. Then she sets up for her own Charlie challenge, first jump scaring the camera, warning the viewers that they could see some craziness. But after reading a bit from the play, nothing seems to happen, concluding, hope you enjoyed the video. Her sister comes barging in, asking for her charger cable, and dismissively says goodnight when leaving. Wow, great relationships with her whole dang family. It seems they're just kind of awful, I don't know. The next morning, Auna notices the gargoyle statue is missing, but Lisa says that she didn't move it. Well then who did? The spirit of course, yeah obviously. In class, poking around her bag, we see the play sticking out, and based on our reaction, she didn't put it there. And then she's back in theater class eager for another chance, but this time chooses a monologue from the Gallows, and does a much better job than before. At least able to get through it without traumatizing flashbacks of her unsupportive parents, the audience is clearly enthralled as she gets more dramatic and passionate in her reading, and suddenly is done, appearing to snap out of a state of some kind, everyone immediately bursting into applause. In the hall, she bumps into Cade, and after some more inane banter, asks her on a date to get some ice cream. But when handing her phone over to put in his number, they notice her phone is blowing up with notifications about her last upload. And when checking the video, it has racked up 900,000 views. Oh yeah, even I wish my videos got that many views. She's getting that audience she's been so desperate for. Just have to put your life in danger and evoke evil spirits. Worth it! Then we see why it has so much interest in the comments, seeing references to a table, which she must not have seen. What, do you not QC your vids before you upload them? Amateur. She replays it and sees the table behind her shift on its own, and decides to go for another round, setting down a vase and reads from the play again, this time lines referencing the hangman. She keeps looking to the table, but it doesn't budge to her frustration, and just about to give up, her lamp is launched across the room, getting smashed, her smiling in response. Oh boy, more ghosty times. At their ice cream date, she gushes about her monologue and how well it went, going on about how she's always wanted to be an actress since she was little, and thought if one day she had the chance to prove herself, could do something to make an impact, something important or timeless. But her dick parents and sister never got it, seeing her mom telling her to stop pretending and declaring that she's just Auna, which again, I can't imagine any parent actually doing to their kid. But Cade questions if these Charlie videos are what she had in mind about making an impact. She admits that she doesn't know, but it is just nice to finally be seen. An ice cream jockey interrupts, informing her and us that she's out on a date with a superstar. It turns out that his parents are the prestigious Parker family that was mentioned earlier, and he takes her to meet them, her giggling the entire time. Cade himself, it turns out, used to be an actor on some sitcom as a kid, but got tired of it. As his parents are actors themselves, they pushed it on him. Auna joking that their parents would probably swap them if they could. Yeah, they probably would do that because your parents are jerks. Stopping at a gas station, Auna looks happy, checking herself in the mirror, but disturbingly when flipping it, she sees someone hanging behind her. And then when turning back, there's nothing there. Get used to that setup gimmick. It happens about 6,000 times in the movie, and she gets her first sweet taste of internet fame. Two young girls knocking on the car door, recognizing her from their videos, asks for a picture. One saying it was so cool that he was in the room with her and picked her. Wait, what? We didn't see that. She must have missed something again. Seriously, lady, you gotta at least watch some of your 15-second video before posting it. Come on, it's not that tough. To cap off her perfect evening, Cade says that she's got something on her face, but it was just a ruse to go in for a smoochy poo. Young love. I remember love. Now I'm an old man dead in my heart. That's not true, I believe in love. Checking her videos, it's now clocked over 1 million views and sees comments from that same almost famous guy asking for more Charlie videos. Everyone's saying they just can't get enough. She gets a new chat message from him about fans of the Hangman who get together via some website, seeing many posts related to previous challenges that didn't go right. They in fact went very wrong. She finds a post on the real Charlie including a video of his accidental hanging death that kicked this whole thing off, including reference to Pfeiffer, our one survivor of the Dum Dums from the first movie, and she was actually Charlie's daughter as we learned at the end of that. She then comes across a post for her own video, and even though it is a still frame, it comes to life. The Hangman's seen walking behind her, as now the door starts creaking open on its own. After some hesitation, she goes to look in the closet, and it's really dark back there. I mean, turn on a light, what the heck, man? But there's nothing in there, it seems. Until stepping out, the door slams on her fingers, and we see the Hangman is indeed following after her, not noticing him standing ominously in the hallway while she patches her fingers up. When turning back, he's vanished once again. That's like all he does. You didn't see me, and now I'm gone. He did leave behind some wet footprints, tracking them into the kitchen, and sees a silhouette passing by, and runs into Lisa. Of course, now the marks are gone, no matter, as Lisa is here for another classic family pep talk, saying she's talked with her mom and agreed that she needs to stop wasting her time with this Charlie garbage, annoying Auna, telling her to go play dress up or whatever and stomping off. Growing increasingly worried about all the weird shit going on since first reading the play. In class, after another attempt at the monologue, she struggles to get through it this time, and afterwards asks the teacher if she can change her monologue, but he encourages her to not give up. Just do what you did last time. Oh, do what you did last time. That's really solid direction there, teach. No wonder this school's so prestigious with direction like that. Things only get steamier in her relationship with Cade. At a party taking her out back to a treehouse he and a friend made as kids, her worried as it's a bit janky. What? How dare you question the construction prowess of children? She asks if he brings all of his girls up here, him retorting just the 10s like her, but says his ex was an 11, her punching him in the arm. She's less interested in indulging in her hormones, but rather in making more videos, wanting to enlist him as her partner in crime to film another one right now. He questions if that really is that important. When she says it is, he apologizes saying she is something special. Maybe she doesn't see it, but he does. The two going in for a passionate kiss. She starts reciting lines from the play and starts choking him. She snaps out of it in her daze, but she doesn't stop strangling him. Asking what happened, the floor breaks away and Cade falls through and is hung by a noose. But luckily this was just a hallucination. Him saying she was the one that was choking. While at home, Lisa is busy sewing something, and the TV suddenly turns itself on to her sister's favorite flick, now infected by footage of a weird little skeleton guy on a bike. Distracted, she accidentally pokes her finger, sitting her digging for bandages, noticing the figure behind her is starting to move. That's the problem with keeping all these mannequins around. If one was evil, you wouldn't know until it was too late. They appear much closer now, starting to reach a weird little hand around her, but when turning, they backed off. She slowly approaches them, looking befuddled. She then removes the hood, exposing a weird, distorted lady face underneath right as Auna comes home. Lisa freaking, and of course they're gone. Auna distantly saying she's going to bed, seeing that Lisa still is holding the hood in her hand. Now even more adamant about switching monologues, she comes across a video of a girl who also did the Charlie challenge, Lax from the opening, and it sounds like she's going through a very similar similar experience to Auna, complaining of not being able to think straight or sleep and has no one to talk to about what she's going through. Sounds exactly like her situation, all spurned on by reading the play. Lex recalls that a huge mark appeared on her neck that night, which is not looking very good. That's probably not a good sign. And now Auna can't even stay awake in class, the teacher waking her up and asking her to read from the textbook, but the words morph into lines from the play. Hearing Lex again saying it's everywhere. The book has completely changed into the gallows, the hangman arm reaching out and grabs her throat, seeing she now has been marked as well. It took a while. Why did it take so long? She gets a message from Almost Famous asking if she's at the end of a rope. Delicious pun. As Auna grows only deeper under its control. Coming back to theater class after her performance, she thought she did the other monologue, but the teacher says he was excited that she decided to stick with the gallows, certain his talent scout friend will be impressed. But she obviously didn't even know she did that performance, showing us just how much this thing is messing with her mind. The curse now starts messing with Lisa more, opening the door while she's in the shower, and when carefully stepping out, hits a rope on the ground, which is pretty dang long, her following it all the way outside, up a tree, and finds her dog hanging there. The cops come later, and she is joined by Auna, who is also not looking so good with some serious bags going on there due to lack of sleep. She sits with her still upset sister, seeing the noose is sitting behind her. Yeah, fun little thing to keep. Laughing and crying, she goes in for a big hug, and Auna reluctantly reciprocates, and somehow the play appears in her hands. Lisa grabs it enraged, asking why she still has this, and rips it to shreds, saying this thing is hurting both of us, also noting the big mark on her neck. Auna is mad. She's only now treating her like a sister, as she got everything from their mom and dad. Auna saying she's proved them wrong, as people are finally appreciating her. Lisa just gives up on the situation as she has her big show tomorrow. What about her audition, Auna asks, and Lisa goes off on her, calling her untalented, and only one amongst thousands of others hopeful for success, and nothing will come from her audition. Geez, I know you're upset and everything, but maybe now is not the best time to be such a bitch. Jeez, thanks sis. Back at school, she Googles how to stop the Charlie challenge. It's probably not gonna be that easy, and tries to search again with capitalization. Yeah, I'm sure that'll make a difference. And gets a message from her #1 fan offering to help. The computer glitches, now displaying an article saying that it is possible to stop the curse with a willing human sacrifice. She asks what the hell they're doing to her, replying that it will all be over soon. And a video starts to play featuring Lex, lamenting that she's reached the end of the play and finds out that the peasant hangs themselves at the end. Her neck now way more messed up, seeing she has a noose set up around the fan. Spotting that the video is actually a live broadcast, Anna tries to help by messaging her. Just as she's about to put her head in the noose, we hear the notification come in on her end, which does stop her returning to the computer. She begs her to stop, as she knows what she's going through herself, but it appears to be futile, the hangman appearing in her room, about to warn her her computer battery dies, rushing to grab a charger from another student. When she gets it booted up, she finds she is still alive for the moment, but the noose is back around her neck, and she gets slammed against the camera. Well, so much for trying to intervene, as another message comes through, saying if you want to finish this. Before seeing more, she's distracted by someone watching her in a hoodie. She chases him outside, but loses him in the crowd. But there's no time to investigate further, as it's time for her big audition, deciding not to follow through, backing away as the stage director yells for her to get out there, then finds the play in her back pocket, and decides to go forward with it anyway. We don't see the performance, but it must have been a whopper, because everyone is heard applauding, and the director calls it incredible. And she gets introduced to the big boy Scott, who asks to meet her privately, her eye bags now momentarily looking more like misplaced football player makeup. And it must have been one dang good performance, because after one monologue, he offers her a full scholarship at NYU to her delight. Normally it would be a little more difficult than that. Although he's curious about the play, as he isn't familiar when telling him it's the gallows, he knows all about it, calling the whole curse thing poppycock. As another hallucination takes over, almost to prove him wrong in a way, the light turning red in the room, and a bunch of nooses start descending from the rafters. His neck snaps, and then we're brought back to reality. Everything is totally fine. Well, sort of. Hey, she's getting to live her dream thanks to the gallows, right? Best play ever. What's to complain about? While at home, her sister leaves a message to patch things up, apologizing for her outburst and saying she is talented and deserves better. By the way, it is seriously foggy up in here. Close a window or something. Jeez Louise, lady. As expected in horror movies, after having a revelatory, heartfelt moment, it's time for Lisa to die. The wind starts howling, growing much more intense, flinging shit all over the room. The medicine cabinet explodes, and she runs, coming face to face with her mannequins, the weird distorted lady face front and center. The door closes, bonking her in the head, inside seeing the hangman's figure behind a sheet. She breaks her ruler killer getting serious and threatening to know what they want, and pulls away the sheet to nothing. It drops down behind her, landing in the shape of a person, as the tape measure around her neck gets tighter and tighter until suffocating her. Lying helpless on the floor, the hangman appears over her as she chokes out. As a result of Lisa's death, the splintered family is brought back together, but Auna's parents still keep their distance, leaving her alone in her room to listen to her sister's fateful final phone message, which hits harder now with her being dead and everything. Meanwhile, Cade is hard at work with internet research and comes across stories related to Pfeiffer, the daughter of Charlie that survived the first movie's events, including the actual end scene where cops descended on the house and find her along with her mother, which we all think is news to Cade, but thanks to some contrived storytelling, this whole scene makes literally no sense later. Auna checks her channel, seeing some leftover notes from Almost Famous asking where she's been, and suggesting to finish the perfect Charlie challenge, sending along pictures of Timber, saying he's making them into a gallows just for her. Freaking her out, she launches her laptop across the room. Well, that's broken now. Cade rings her full of fresh backstory internet knowledge, apologizing as he didn't know what was really happening, and says he's found someone who can help them end this, venturing to a mental hospital where they find Pfeiffer, now chained up in a wheelchair after the events of the gallows. The nurse doesn't seem to care too much about them. When they lied they're her cousins, he's like, whatever, you can have 5 minutes with her. Tight chip around here. Seeing she has stuff scribbled all over her walls about Charlie and hangmans and all that kind of stuff, it's pretty obvious. Now alone, Auna pulls out the play, telling Pfeiffer that she thought the Charlie challenge was a stupid game. Her warning, you should be careful saying his name, because the only reason that you say it is to call upon someone. Yeah, well, that's pretty standard trope too. Auna pleads that she needs help, and again Pfeiffer suggests that a willing sacrifice is the key, continuing that she did the show from the first movie to appease her father and to make those responsible for his death pay. Reese, another Joker from the first movie, gave his life for her, which she finds beautiful, and says that it can't stop until a willing sacrifice is made. She starts yelling and comes at them, seething that he wants you and is coming for you, as the nurse comes in to get her back in sorts. Even with all that death talk from Pfeiffer, outside Cade says that he won't let anything happen to her, and thinking that her drive for fame was at least responsible for all this, deletes her YouTube account without remorse, actually wishing she had done so sooner, both smiling and piling into the car. Surprisingly, they are assaulted by someone that throws bags over their heads, coming to bound and hooded in the woods. As they regain consciousness, Cade is grabbed by the hangman, bringing him to the gallows we learned earlier were being built. She gets to her feet, but can't see shit, stumbling all around the woods, making her easily snatched up by the hangman, putting her up on the gallows alongside Cade, him telling her to stop her struggle. I didn't know he could talk. Removing their hoods, she accuses him of messing with things, lightning crashing in the distance. He tells her to stop whining, as one of them has to die. The whole willing sacrifice thing again. Yes, I know, I remember. Also seeing a second hangman chilling in the woods. In fact, the real spirit of Charlie. Cade offers his life for hers, and like that, the switch is pulled and he drops to his demise, it seems. She yells for the hangman to take her instead, and thanks to teleporting via lightning, Charlie appears right in front of her. Anna's mind is flooded with all those thoughts of her family doubting her, and then to her princess lady reminding her to remember her greatness, saying, today I can live for me, and today I can die for him, she boldly declares, finally discovering her strength from within, after her stupid family doubted her entire life for no reason. With her choice, the hangman pulls the switch and she's instantly killed, the rain slowing down, both hanging there lifeless. We then hear the footsteps of others approaching the scene, all dressed in hangman masks. The one on stage removes his mask, seeing it's Victor from the beginning challenge, who is alive, I guess, even though it looked like he got choked out by the swing chain and was like totally dead. Then others in the group remove their hoods, including the girls that asked for Anna's picture. The girl Lex, who we literally saw get killed, along with Cade's parents, all part of a kind of weird cult apparently that worships Charlie. Okay, if you say so. And Cade is still alive too. Victor unties him and sets him free, as he removes his sweater, seeing a harness attached that made it appear that he was hanged, the whole thing being part of a huge setup. His parents lending him a hand to get down from the gallows. He asks his dad, "We did it, right?" His dad congratulating his son on a job well done. And Cade turns to the camera, addressing himself as Almost Famous 99. Whoa, he was behind all that stuff too. Telling the audience they hope that they enjoyed the perfect Charlie challenge, turning off the recording GoPro camera on the tree. Alright, wow, so at the very least the ending here is trying to establish this whole conspiracy of people that Auna encountered throughout her story that were all part of some master grand plan to get her to sacrifice herself willingly. Don't forget, willingly, as the ultimate Charlie challenge. Fine, I get that. But there's a lot here that just plumb doesn't make any sense when we look back at the story up to this point. Like I said, based on what we saw, at least Victor and Lex were straight up killed. So I have absolutely no idea how they faked their deaths and everything. Must have some serious Hollywood effects at their disposal to pull that off, because otherwise what we saw makes no sense. So then I was all like, I don't know, what are they, all ghosts or something like that? But in order for that to work, everyone here would have to only interact with other ghosts or our protagonist exclusively. You know, pretty standard fare. It's like, oh, he was a ghost the whole time, and then it's like, oh, well, he didn't interact with anyone except the one person, and so that's what makes it all make sense. But that doesn't add up either unless everyone in town is a damn ghost or something. The reality is it just doesn't add up, folks. I don't know what to tell you. Fine, maybe it is all some big conspiracy or whatever, but how come the police are literally never really involved in the entire movie for the most part? Even after Lisa is found strangled by a fashion tape measure, you'd think there'd be some kind of investigation afterwards. Nope, guess not. Oh, unless they're ghost cops, you can't depend on those. And if the opening scene was real and readily available on YouTube, again, 15 million views, they certainly would have looked into that whole thing as well. So did Victor's brother actually die? Or was that just a big goof as well to get more people to do the challenge? I don't know. And the point is, the filmmakers obviously didn't really either, and just kind of slapped some shit together that doesn't add up to lead to this ending of a Charlie cult that they seem so enamored with. It's a last minute twist that doesn't gel with what came before, such as back with Cade, like I mentioned, doing his Google research and finding Pfeiffer. This was done as a blatant and contrived way to connect it to the first film, but the thing is, Cade knew all about the history of the Charlie thing and all that shit going on the whole time, since he was in and the mastermind of the big master plan. He was the guy pushing her the entire time. The whole thing is, it was presented from Cade's perspective, not our lead lady, Auna. So once you come to this final scene, that previous scene, along with many others, make no sense. And that's all I can say on the matter. So perhaps it is for these reasons that this one too lingered on the shelves for several years before being released. It failed to capture the spirit of the original, and is pretty much a dud with a few minor highlights throughout. You blew it. With that, we have reached the conclusion of this Ending Explained for the Gallows Act II. Yeah, it wasn't the best. And maybe it would have been better keeping this bad boy on the shelves if this was the end result. And just like with the first film, this includes like 30 minutes of deleted scenes on the Blu-ray, including an alternate ending with a bunch of people all around the world or whatever watching that final broadcast all wearing hangman hoods, which thank God they cut, because that would have been 1,000 times stupider. All this leads me to believe that they really struggled to put something together that worked, and the end result just doesn't. That's all there is to say. So I explained it the best I could. I'm sorry, I tried. And don't forget before we go that you can send me requests for any TV shows or movies you'd like to see me explain by sending them my way on any of my social media accounts at FoundFlix. What did you guys think of the Gallows Act II? Did you like this one or the first one better? They're both masterpieces. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.